All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with another video. This time, going to be talking about squads and are they worth it? Is it something that you should be bringing or not? And I'll go over a few list ideas with them and kind of my thoughts on squads, kind of something that I've talked to with Canadian Bear for a little bit, and we will kind of, or I'll kind of, go over them and just give you my thoughts. So first off, if you haven't headed over to the Discord, head on over there now. If you've got questions, feel free to ask them on the rules questions. If you've, are just trying to get some clarification, this is a perfect spot for it. If you have ideas for different lists and you're trying to show them off, or you kind of want to go over, the new recon type style, which is only 600 points, then feel free to post that. If you were just in a tournament or if you had a list that has been doing really well, feel free to post it down here. This is great for other people to be able to see exactly kind of like what is winning, and it's also great to see the ideas that you all come up with. Also, if you are working on something, feel free. Saved has showed off his Wookiee squad that he's working on. Albert Alumni has been showing off the Scarif table that he's been working on. So these are really cool. And then Zero Mouse has been posting some sweet, smooth looking crab droids. So yeah, feel free to show everything off. And if you are interested in the league that we are going to be starting again, feel free to post here. Just kind of head on over there to the Discord, put in the league general that you are interested, and I will get you in as a league member, and then I'll let you know how everything's going to start. I've kind of gone over the results for the league earlier this week, and so if you're interested in it, feel free to post in here and just let me know. I'll be going over the tiers and the different pods and going from there. So yeah, it's a great way to kind of get a few games in if you're interested. And then if you can, head on over to the Patreon. This is where you're going to be able to help the channel grow. I'm going to try to also help other people like Zelenka with Adepticon if it's allowed with a giveaway. And then we're going to be trying to do another giveaway for a commander of your choice. So if you have, whatever faction it is, if you're interested in getting a commander expansion, all you have to do is leave a comment and be a subscriber. If you are a Patreon member, then you get more chances to win. So this is a great way to be able to do that. Also for the Discord, whenever your server level goes up, you also get an extra chance to win. And so then we'll start this week, and yeah, so feel free to post that in there. So let's go over squads. I'm going to just kind of pull up a random list here. What I'll do is I'll just kind of go over something else here. Let's just do Republic here. All right, so squads are a different cost, obviously, and it's a great way to be able to get basically another unit inside of another. And so it costs differently depending on the faction. I know with Empire, it's like, I think, 46 for Rebels, it's about 45 for Republic, it's about 56, and then for CIS, it's only like 38. Yeah, so it's very cool that they all cost a little bit different. Squads give you indomitable for that unit, so you're going to be rolling red dice whenever you have suppression to get the suppression off. So you don't really, if you got courage too, like normal infantry, then no matter what, you're going to be good. But you've got a pretty high chance of making sure that you get the suppression off. Now, the bad thing is that you cannot be transported if you have the squad. So you're going to have to make sure that you have like recon, or just understand that you are going to be starting from the back. And I feel like that's fairly normal. The cohesion for the unit is now range 1 instead of half range. So now you've got a lot more flexibility with how you want to cohere them. In clones, this is going to be amazing because at range 1, you can now spread out the token sharing. So like you can have this squad in the middle, and at range 1, you're going to be able to basically be range 2 apart and from one guy to the other. because from the middle, obviously, you do range 1 to the left and then range 1 to the right. And now you've got a range 2 bubble for other units. So now you can either get more tokens or you can share more tokens with farther away. So this is really nice. It's just a matter of, hopefully you can probably stack that unit with tokens. Now, you don't have to have a heavy. Obviously, this is a personnel slot, so it's not bad. It's pretty good. With the clones, this, I feel like having a squad in clones is better than any other faction, for the mere fact that you can have a personnel. So now you've got the 4 plus the 5, so you have 9 already. And then maybe you say you wanted to do the, we'll just say like for the heavy, the Z6. All right. And then maybe for this as well, you want to go with 5s. Well, boom. I mean, it's going to be in a very, very expensive squad. But you can split fire 3 different ways with this squad at once. So 5s can shoot his own weapon because he has one. The Z6 can shoot his own weapon because he's got one. And then the clone squad, which is 9 guys, can also shoot their own weapon. So you're shooting 9 black dice, then 6 black dice, and then 3 black dice. So that's one way to be able to get out 3 suppression if you really wanted to. Maybe, you know, if you wanted the mortar in there, that could be really nice with the with 5s maybe, because whenever you shoot the black dice with the mortar, it's critical 1. Now it is cumbersome, so you're not really going to be able to move. So hopefully, you know, you can, you know, if you wanted to, maybe put Waxer on here. Waxer, I feel like, is a great way to be able to get recon and scout 1. The discipline really doesn't matter, but it's an extra body and it's recon intel. And it's all for 20 points. So that's a really good way to combine your points together. And then you won't be able to split fire as much. You only will be able to split fire between the clone trooper squad with Waxer and then the mortar. But you're probably going to be shooting all of these together, because that'd be like, see, 9, 10, 11, 12 dice, critical 1. And then you've probably got your own surge plus another surge or an aim or something that you can use from someone else. I like the Z6 and 5s because that's a fairly okay dice pool. Because I mean, with 5s, it's you got charge, and if you wanted to charge with the whole thing, that's really great. If you're going to charge and really try to get them to charge, then the shotgun is going to be the better one because they can use it in melee and it's pierce. So not only do you have charge, but you've got another 2 red dice with pierce in melee that you can use with 5s, or 3 black dice in melee. So you've got an extra 5 on top of the 9. So that's 14 dice that you're going to be rolling in melee, if they all have survived so far. Depending on the amount of other threats you have, someone's probably not even going to want to bother trying to dwindle down that entire unit. So it's not going to be bad. And I mean, yeah, sure, you can add tenacity to it, because once one guy is down, if you've lost 1 or more of your minis, you get an extra red dice. So it kind of makes up to have tenacity on there. With your squad, you know, into the fray couldn't be too bad. Yeah, it just really depends. And even maybe having like the frag grenades, which are going to be a range 1 surge to crit, with an extra red dice, and you've got plenty of bodies. That would be insane. So, like, you know, one of your guys, you'd be rolling 8 black dice, 3 red dice, plus another 3 black dice. So that's 11 black dice, I should say, with 3 red, surge to crit, at range 1, pierce 1. So that's a fairly decent hit. You're probably going to be deleting a unit, if you can get past cover. Now, that's the other thing with squads. Is squads, you know, the larger the dice pool, the easier it can be to, you know, get rid of your attack dice with cover, because now you're throwing a boatload of dice for cover, your opponent is. So it's a little harder, but obviously if they fail, maybe they have light cover, or you were somehow able to get them into no cover, you're probably going to be deleting that unit, no doubt. So yeah, I think the squads are very worth it for clones. All right, so with that being said, let's kind of go to rebels. And actually, I'll just go ahead and go over this list starting with rebels. So I've got Luke with reflexes and tenacity, just because I want to get him in as much as I can. I've got a rebel officer in there with nothing on there. I've got fleet trooper units, 2 of them with the scattergun and the fleet squad. So the amount of dice that you're going to be rolling at range 2 is going to be amazing, because with 4 you're rolling 2 black or 2 white each, surging to hit. So that's pretty nice. So that's already 8 with another 5. So that's 18 plus the 2 from the shotgun. So that's 20 dice, pierce 1. And chances are you're going to be rolling some surges and some hits and maybe a crit or 2 or 5, depending, if you're from Gray Squadron Gaming and you're Don, you're probably going to be rolling 10 crits. So, these squads are very lethal. I've got another Rebel Trooper with the squad. It's with the SX-21, so an extra impact in there. So you're probably going to be getting at least 1 crit through, if not maybe 2 or 3 on armor. But for the most part, that's a lot of dice as well, because that is the 9 dice, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 13 dice at range 2, if you can get there close enough. I've got 2 Ewok skirmishers with call to arms, so they gain charge, and then an extra Ewok, axe Ewoks, and the squad, which is going to give you 4 only, but that's still 10, 11 guys in the unit with charge. And so these are just trying to focus on as many bodies as possible. And then you've got 2 sleeper cells with the astromech, so still 6, so that's 12 dice. And another Ewok slinger, this time with up to range 2, and an extra axe Ewok, which can still throw a black dice at range 2, and then the Ewok squad, so another 4 for another at least 11 dice at range 2, and 12 dice, and just 11 dice in general. All right, and then you've got the land speeder in here with the rocket, the A300 gunner, just because it fits in there, and then the ion, so range 4. So you've got a lot of range 4 on the land speeder, and then you've got up to range 2 on the land speeder. It's armor 2, arsenal 3, so you can at least get a little bit of stuff through, and it's another way to get an extra activation. So that's 11 activations, and again, every unit is stacked with a squad, so you're still able to at least get something, and it's still pretty hard for your opponent to chew through. Now, the only real other big hitter you have is Luke, with only force reflexes and tenacity, so you're going to really be relying on whatever you can command card wise with him, and trying to play him smart, not too aggressive and too quick. His 1 pip, though, will allow you to use your fleet troopers to attack basically twice in 1 round. Because if we go down to, you serve your master well, it's basically you can choose a friendly core trooper unit if you wanted to, just a non-commander operative at range 1, and perform a free attack action. So you can do a lot of damage with 40 dice on top of another 20 at some point, and then a whole bunch of other things later on. So, yeah, I think that this is going to be fun. And, force reflexes for block. I tried to put, prepared supplies on there, but obviously it's really hard. I wanted charge on those guys because they're going to need to be moving. The astromech, sure, an extra dodge is really, really nice on the sleeper cells. So get aggressive with your list and not quite Luke. But why not? 11 activations is fairly nice. All right, so let's go to Empire. Empire also is going to have 11 activations, but your Moff and your Krennic are naked. So again, you can't be too aggressive with Moff or Krennic because your points are all in everything else. So you've got a Snowtrooper squad with the Flame Trooper. So if you can get them at range 1, fairly quickly, then that's going to be really nice. But actually, real quick. So if I go back here, I don't know if I did the plans, not with these guys. So, shifting priorities is pretty decent. Recover the research would be pretty decent. And probably intercept, with the mere fact that you're going to have a whole bunch of bodies that can block off access to them landing at half range with the amount of minis you have. So if you can get up there and you can just really kind of like hone in on just blocking out the objective, you're going to be doing really well. It's going to be a little harder with shifting, but with recover the research and intercept, you can definitely prevent them from walking on. Bunker assault, you've got red dice or white dice. They're going to be coming towards you, then maybe, sure. Shifting priorities, again, because you've got such large dice pools at kind of at range 2, you're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. So that's why maybe with shifting and bunker assault, having to meet in the middle, that would be great. And again, intercept, you're probably going to be doing pretty well. All right, so back to the Empire. Snowtroopers with Flame Trooper and the Snowtrooper Squad. The 2 units of Stormtroopers with the T-21B, or the T-21 and the Stormtrooper Squad. So the T-21 gives you critical 2, and with the amount of dice that you're going to be rolling, then yeah, it's going to be worth it. And with Director Krennic having Entourage and Spotter 1, naturally, you're going to be able to at least, hopefully with the 2 of these squads, give 1 an aim, and then maybe if you take an aim, if your opponent's close enough and you don't have to move too far, then that's great. But again, with the fact that you've got a Stormtrooper squad and you can cohere at range 1, your unit leader can be farther up ahead, and then you cohere one guy farther back to at least be at range 2 of Krennic for a Exemplar, then you're going to be able to, increase your range of how far you can go to be able to get that aim. Then you have a DLT 19 with a Stormtrooper squad, so that way you get at least a bit of an extra red in there, and impact. So that's pretty nice to have. And then you've got an Imperial Death Trooper squad with comms relay, and the DT F-16, mostly for the health and compel. It's 1 less dice and 1 less range with the DT F-16 rather than the DLT, but compel can be really, really nice to have. And, Krennic is also going to have compel, so you can compel any of these guys, and they've got indomitable, all of them. So at least that's really nice. Your Courage 1 units are going to be able to hopefully get off that suppression quite easily. And then your Imperial Death Troopers obviously have, Ready 1 Disciplined, so they can get off a suppression if they need to. The Imperial Dark Troopers don't care about suppression at all. And then you've got Programmed Loyalty because you've got 2 commanders that they can probably be around, and the Assault Cannon. So if you didn't want maybe Programmed Loyalty, maybe you can give the 6 points to Gideon for, tenacity or offensive push to give him 2 aims. Not that he really needs 2 aims at all. But yeah, it's just something that you can do. Now, this is 11 activations because the Imperial Dark Troopers get 2 activations each. So that's going to be really great, especially when everyone has the squad. Secondly, you have Ruthless on Moff Gideon. So when another friendly core trooper unit at range 2 and on line sight has a phase-up border token and it activates, it can suffer a wound to perform a free action. Well, you have a ton of bodies on your units, so if they need to, if they have an order, face-up order token, you can move, aim, shoot, especially with the T-21s. Now, if you can get, Moff Gideon close enough, and you can relay an order from the Death Troopers onto one of these Stormtroopers, that's at least a face-up order token, plus whatever orders you give out. So if you're giving out, deploy the garrison, you're probably going to actually give those to the Dark Troopers. One of them will go to the Dark Troopers. Maybe you can give another one to a stormtrooper squad that's up close or in melee. You can then Gideon is going to entourage, like I said. Alright, so Gideon entourages to one, and then you give one order to the other one. So now both of them. So you have one order that you can give to the T-21 squad, and then you can comms relay to the other T-21 squad. So now you have 4 units with face-up order tokens. 2 of them are core, and that's just with the 2-pip. Annihilation looms. Krennic's going to get one, and then you give it to 2 core units, and then you can comms relay with entourage to the 3rd core unit. So now all your core units have face-up order tokens, and then you still get one order to the darks because of the entourage with Gideon. And then a moment of consideration, you can do, all 3 and all 3 core. And then, Gideon's going to be able to give his entourage to the darks, and then you can comms relay from the from the deaths onto the darks. So now 5 units have face-up order tokens, 3 of them being core, 2 of them being heavies. And yeah, it's going to be all your core is going to gain a standby. Or if you really wanted, you could give entourage to one of the darks. You give an order to a dark. You give 2 orders to the core, and then you comms relay to a core. So maybe at least 1 dark has a standby, and 2 of your core have a standby. So all these extra free actions kind of really do a lot, especially given that you have got Ruthless as well. So yeah, there's a lot of finagling and special things you can do as long as you know how to maneuver this list fairly well. But you do have a lot of bodies, and you do have 11 activations still, which is the biggest thing with squads, is being able to get the amount of activations you need in order to make the squads worth it. So the CIS, 11 activations as well. General Grievous with aggressive tactics and endurance, mostly because he's courage 2, and he's really going to want to be able to keep moving. You've got a super attack droid with comms relay. You've got a naked B1. All right, so I couldn't get every core unit a squad and a heavy, and I would rather give at least a few heavies out just in case. So I gave 3 rad cannons with the B1 squads, so that way they're range 2. So hopefully with the extra bodies, you're going to be able to get into range 2 still with the rad cannon alive to do some extra damage. So that's why the rad cannons are on all of the extra squads. You have 2 IG Magna Guards with the Electro Whip and Hacked Comms unit to be able to, make sure that they can get that order. I know that Grievous has entourage 1 Magna Guard, so really, I guess technically you don't have to, but if you're like me and they wind up separating pretty far, then fine. Maybe you get rid of 1, and those 5 extra points can go towards whatever else. Maybe you have 6 points now technically, or maybe you get rid of endurance and you put something else on there. Or instead, you give the naked squad a portable scanner. So now you give Grievous an extra dodge with the B1 battle droids, so to activate his block a little bit more. And then you've got 3 crab droids with defense protocol. Now, let me kind of go over again why I don't have a weapon on them. So I'll kind of show you here. You've got your crab droids. Well, let's just say we're playing close to pocket, right? Well, okay. This turn, really, you would wind up... Let me see if I can go back. So this turn, you would try to play the... Don't underestimate our means. So you could divulge this, choose up to 3 friendly units with AI. Each of them gains reinforcements, which is basically a free speed 1 move at the end of their turn. So, with that being said, if we go back to our crab droids here, maybe say that, you've gone with everybody else. So this would be that list, right? You've got Grievous, your attack droid, all of your units here. They would actually have portable scanners. Boom, there you go. All right, so crab droids. All right, so you have, and you would give your scout obviously to Grievous here and both of the Magna Guards. So now they all have Scout 1 to be able to get just a little closer. So let's do our deploy, right? Let's just say we're going to take a hard turn, right? All right, you do your Scout. Now, let's just make a tiny little move. One little, their vehicle. So they get to do a little reposition there. You kind of move them in. Now you move them in again. Boom. All right, now let's go to this guy over here. Let's go ahead and deploy him, actually. All right, let's move him straight. All right, let's go ahead and do our our 2 speed 2 moves. Okay, boom, boom. Let's get right here. Okay. Well, as you can see at the end of round 1, you've got at least that guy already in range. All right, so with reinforcements, they get their free speed 1 at the end of the round. Chances are, the fact that you're right here, not even 6 inches away from the edge of the board, or their deployment zone, I should say. Why get a ranged weapon? And you've got Pierce and Impact in your normal Impact 2, Pierce 1 in the 2 red, a white, and a black in melee. So you're good to go. And then let's just say right here, you do your speed 1 at the end of the round, you're scoring. So both crab droids, and obviously you've got a third one that could go here, or a third one that could go over here, or in the middle still even. Because you probably got someone who's trying to come and maybe they get over there. If you've got ARC troopers, they're going to try to scout. They're going to probably try to move, and they're probably going to be over here somewhere. Well, hopefully, with defense protocols, if you can get, maybe you actually give Scout to Kalani and have him move up. And on the next turn, maybe try to go with him first and get a dodge or give them, strategize. Give them a little bit of extra help whenever they are trying to defend and go in. But yeah, your crab droids can move fairly far without really needing that extra weapon. And with defense protocol, giving them outmaneuver and, nimble, if you've got Kalani over there helping them out, they're going to survive a little bit. And they've got red dice, 5 health, sure, 3 damage, or get up to the 3 damage output thing. So, yeah. But it's 11 activations. It's going to really help. You've got at least your scouting party for either both Magna Guards and or Grievous and the TAC droid and a Magna Guard. So, yeah, so much that you could do with this list. And again, you've got a whole bunch of squads on there. And if you looked at the board and you saw the amount of, if I go back to it real quick, the amount of B1s that you have. So, yeah, you've got a ton over here. And like I said, a bunch of crab droids that you can bring over here with you. So, yeah. I feel like this should be just like a fun list. I don't know if it's going to be too competitive, but at least I like the squads. Kind of feels like it'd be just something fun for Legion. All right, and then last but not least, I've got Clone Captain Rex with aggressive tactics, recon, and jetpack. I've got a Clone Commander, just regular guy. I've got a Clone Infantry with Boyle for the scout move, the Z6, and the Clone Infantry squad. So Boyle's going to be able to kind of protect Rex if he needs to. If you didn't want Boyle, obviously you could just go with Waxer. I feel like... Where's Waxer? So maybe we get rid... Okay, that... Where's... Oh, is Waxer a heavy? No. I mean, come on. What happened to Waxer here? And what happened to Boyle? I just had him. Why can't you get him in here again? Okay. Clone Commander, Clone Captain. Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to bring them in. All right. You have Boyle on there or Waxer, whatever. You've got fives and the DP23 and the squad. So again, like I was talking about in the beginning, now fives can shoot and do what he wants. The DP23 can shoot when he wants, and then the extra squad can shoot with the normal infantry squad to be able to get 9 dice anywhere. Or again, 12 dice if you want to shoot with fives, and then an extra 2 dice somewhere else. There's a lot of great options with the clone infantry squad. So in order to make up for the fact that you don't have 11 activations, the other thing is, you don't get an extra. You don't get an extra surge token because you don't have the extra squad, but you still have an extra guy, and there was something else on there that I'm blinking, but I don't know why. You don't have the extra surge from like I said, the extra unit. But there's something on there, and I will make sure to have asked Canadian Bear what it is. I have one naked infantry squad because obviously I can't. The clones are so expensive, and have the one normal, just a normal infantry squad as the most expensive on there. 2 arcs with clone captain, and one of them has impact grenades, and then I have an ARF trooper squad with echo. To get extra long range, and then 2 ATRTs with a laser cannon. So you have a bunch of range 4, yes, and then you've got a bunch of big bodies, and then you've got Clone Captain Rex. And then with Clone Captain's Rex's 2-pip, you can, have 5's unit take an aim, and then now their range is increased by 1. And if I'm not mistaken, it can be everybody. So in that unit. So it just says a clone trooper unit that has a face of porter token performs an aim action during its activation. It can increase the maximum range of its weapons by 1. So all the weapons. So now you have a range 4 squad with 5s at range 4, and then you've got a range 3 DP23 shotgun. And then you've got the clone commander giving a free direct order to 5s. So then 5s is going to be able to give an order to the Z6 squad with Waxer or Boyle, whichever one you're going to have on there. And then you give out the 2 orders. Maybe you give it out to the ARC trooper, both ARC troopers. And so now your ARC troopers can shoot at range 3. All of their dice, and then you have the ARF troopers down here that's already going to be shooting range 4 and or 5, and then the ATRT is going to be shooting range 4 or 5. I wouldn't use it round 1, but round 2 makes a lot of sense because round 1 you're trying to get on the board, so you're not going to be able to really take the aim action, and everything's going to be so far away. So it's better to just do that later. And then Z6 at range 4, along with the rest of them, that's a ton of dice. What is that? 15 dice, because that's 9 plus 6, so 15 at range 4. And then you've got at least 1 surge token on the clone infantry squad normally, and then you've got aggressive tactics giving them a second surge token, and then you can share a surge token for maybe the naked infantry squad. So you've got 3 surges. So when you're rolling 15 dice, you're probably going to get a few of them. So yeah, and if you're taking an aim, at least you can take an aim there, and 10 activations, and I feel like it's pretty stacked for the most part with the fact that everything has an upgrade except for just 1 clone infantry squad and obviously the clone commander. But yeah, not too shabby, not too bad. So if you like the squads, let me know in the comments down below. If you don't like the squads, let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, those comments allow you to get entered in to win for the Commander expansion pack. And I will announce the winner in April. So you have about a month to enter in, just a few weeks. So try to be, active on the Discord and get the server level up for yourself. Head on over to the Discord to get into the League General and commenting on that, especially if you're new. It's really quick and easy to make sure that you get onto the server level, because Now, the lower you are, it just goes by super quick, super easy. And yeah, get ready for the next league. So that's why I said head on over there. And then if you've got questions or you want to post anything about your list, feel free to post them in there. If you've got questions, if you're interested in stuff, yeah. So head on that way. And if you can, head on over to the Patreon, support the channel. And it's a great way to be able to do more giveaways and bigger things. So all right, guys, that is really it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know again what you think about squads in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. All right, thanks, guys. Y'all are awesome, and I want to just give a shout out to the Patreon members: Emperor Atlantis, Daniel Padilla, Anthony Estrada, Grant Saunier as the Shadow Commander. Thank you, Grant, for everything, and congrats for having another child, another baby boy. Biggest gift and biggest thing that you can have. And then thank you, Tyson, again for the support. All right, guys, y'all take it easy.